That is the coolest horn I have ever seen.
I didn't know that it actually worked. That was beautiful. I was not expecting that to actually work. That was, I live for that. I want to hear that every single round.
That's the best thing we've ever gotten a chance to
As soon as he finishes in first place, he just honks the horn and just lets his competition know, like, hey, I'm the winner here. Obviously going to see him going into the final 10. So going to have 2 qualifiers without Mangalore. So going to be seeing a little bit of competition going out through these guys. They have a bit of less competition, considering they don't have to face him in their qualifier. Going to be seeing the likes of Sir9 coming back in here, seeing exactly who else might be in his qualifier as well. I'm very interested to see who might be able to compete against him. We obviously saw the likes of Precious coming in from previous weeks. We saw a few other players. We saw Zero coming in. So there's a few names that we've heard of and have been coming here week by week and haven't been putting themselves up for a decent spot. So going to still see some stiff competition in these next 2 qualifiers.
Well, speaking of stiff competition, we're actually going to go ahead and get down to the floor right now because qualifier number 2 is set to begin. So we're going to get the players on stage right now. All of them getting up there and very excited that we obviously some of our returning players right now. I really want to go to Mangalore and see if I can just borrow his hat and just have this wear it up here in the casting session. And then I'm just going to wear it and then you're going to honk the horn. I think that's just going to be amazing.
Yeah, we're seeing the likes of Watermelon Girl, Gumball 1, Kyret, Geronimo, Sir9. So some stiff competition. We've seen a few of these players in last week's Proper Sloth, Vertex, P-Spice, and Terabyte. So we obviously have seen a few of these names. Terabyte made a pretty decent name for himself last week as well, doing pretty well in the competition, and unfortunately, I think he ended up falling in the final 10, but still made a good name for himself, and we've obviously seen a few of these players before, so I'm interested to see who's going to be taking this one out and seeing if Sir9's able to take this first place like he's probably expecting at this point.
I really do expect it, and I know that Terabyte was a name we have seen here returning here for Saturday Night Speedway. So the question is, are we going to see some new names rise to the top of the leaderboard? Troy, what do you think is going to happen?
I'm probably expecting some of our original players to get themselves back up into the at least the top 2 spots. I think the rest of that might be a little shaken up and see if those other players are able to get themselves into a decent spot there. But I'm interested in probably seeing Sir9 in first or second at this point, pretty solidified at that, and then maybe seeing some competition coming out from them. Obviously, you saw Bunny was in this one from previous weeks, and you also have the likes of Watermelon Girl and a few other players like Terabyte. So going to be some interesting things to see throughout this race, and seeing if we do have any Sir9 prodigies here this week and see if anyone else is going to be copying his strategy.
Again, strategy really does play a considerable factor. People really don't think Mario Kart is that, I guess in the word sophisticated was the word I was going to be looking for right now, but Mario Kart is so sophisticated when you are doing an actual tournament. When you're playing casually, I mean, everything that you do really doesn't matter in the end. It's really just about having fun and customizing your character the way that you want. I mean, I could spend an hour just trying to find my right loadout before I even race, but in a tournament setting, everything that you do matters, and it's so wonderful to see all of these players on stage finding their own little loadout that they enjoy and just going at it and having fun doing it.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing, obviously, these players are going to be ready for their second qualifier. Going to be stiff competition. We've talked about it previously, so I'm very interested to see what maps they're going to be getting. We saw a few, we saw Donkey Kong's map getting replayed twice in that first series so far, so interested to see if we're going to see a lot more different types of varying maps. Hopefully not seeing the Baby Mario and Luigi Park. That is, it's a good map to watch because it's just insane action the entire time. But it's obviously the players aren't going to like it too much because you can go from first to 9th in seconds.
Which we have seen, and again, it's the only race where you have 7 laps instead of 3. And the maps that I want to see, though, are the ones where it is a straight shot, so instead of laps, you have checkpoints. I really enjoy those maps because that feels really, truly like a race. It really does. The circuits are wonderful, but I love those one-way maps.
Yeah, those one-way maps are actually really crucial for a lot of racers to try and easily compete in that one, too. If you're doing like an entire 3-lap race, you can end up going from first, throughout the entire race, end up going from first to 9th, just repeatedly by different kind of actions and items and stuff like that. But if you're on a one-way course, you are more guaranteed. I wouldn't say more guaranteed than a 3-lap race, but you are in a better position if you're able to maintain first place throughout that because there's just one way and there's no laps in between. So you're just going straight on. You're going to keep trying to maintain your lead. Probably seeing if Mangalore sees any of those in his previous or see any of those in his final 10 races, probably going to see an item smuggling and be really, really effective in those kind of races, because if you get yourself up to a like 9th or 10th spot in that kind of race, and then you have really decent items, you can launch yourself into first by quite a big margin.
In which we have seen time and time again, and we've also seen major upsets happen with that as well. So the question is, what is going to happen here? I'm very excited to see exactly what race we're going to end up going into first. Whatever map really does make it's so big, and people don't realize that maps really do make a factor in whether or not you get a first or second place, because your skill level in one of the maps could be considerably better or worse than somebody else on that map. And I'm pretty sure everybody has their own favorite map. Troy, if you had to pick a favorite map, and I also want to interact with Twitch chat. If you guys are over on twitch.tv/esports arena Vegas, please do me a favor and put in the name of your favorite map. Mine is the N64 Rainbow Road remaster in this game.
I would probably actually agree with you. I think the N64 Rainbow Road was like the one most notable for me that I always can remember in my head, and just the good and bad with that map. We obviously saw a quote coming in from Sir9 as he goes into these races. These people think they can burn rubber, but as Gordon Ramsay would say, their driving is raw.
Oh, wow.
So he's going into this one. He's firing on all cylinders. He's talking about how he wasn't trash talking. He was shaking his head earlier in the stands, but we know Sir9 is the one to do that, and he is going to be going into this one pretty confident, it seems, at this point.
At this point, yeah. So we're taking a look at Twitch chat while they're loading into the first race. We have a Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 8, which was true. We actually have one here in Mario Kart 8 exclusive for it. We have the SNES version. I really love the SNES version, but I really do prefer the Nintendo 64. I don't know what it is about the 64 version of Rainbow Road, but it's just the most fun I think I've ever had in a Rainbow Road, and it is the friendship breaker, I'm very certain.
And Mankalor ends up coming to Twitch chat saying a Big Blue Master Race. So obviously a fan of the one-way laps, or the one-way races as well. So going to be seeing if that comes up in the final 10. If not, just unfortunately missing that one out. We obviously saw a few times Big Blue coming into action last week. So going to be interested to see if it's going to be coming on the qualifying rounds, if not in any of the wildcard races or the final 10 races. Going to be seeing these players getting just quite ready for their wildcard too. Anything you're interested in this race, or any particular players that you want to have a keen eye on and going into this one?
Yeah, I want to see Sir9 take the cake. I know he can definitely do it. He always ends up in our final 10. He always ends up at the top of the leaderboards in his qualifiers. But we have a huge amount of competition here tonight at Saturday Night Speedway. So the question is he not only going to make it into the final 10 like we know he is able to do, but is he going to walk away with the victory that he has been oh so bragging about and trash talking about ever since he got here? We know he's laughing right now because he knows he gets into the final 10 and then something happens. So we really need some redemption right now. I want to see Sir9 win it all. I want to see a Sir9, Mankalor, Glitch-tastic, and Guinness guy top 4 in the final 10.
That would be absolutely fantastic to see, or we're going to be seeing that if they're able to do that. Of course, obviously you were talking about it. Sir9 is pretty easily able to get himself in first or second place in his qualifying rounds. Seen emotional bench there, getting some thumbs up. Obviously had some decent races, got knocked out in a few races. We saw him. He's shaking his head. I thought you had some decent races, so keep your head up. But you're going to be seeing these players going into the race soon, but interested to see it. We talked about with Sir9, and we saw it with Bowser when he competed here as well. They did really well in their qualifying rounds, and then in the final 10 weren't able to compete as, I wouldn't say compete as well as they did in the qualifying rounds, but weren't able to quite get the race qualifying positions they wanted in each race. So going to see if they're going to be able to do that in the final 10 races. Obviously, those are the ones that really, really matter. Just the qualifying round will just get you there. Having
Mankalor in this selection pool of people that are here for Saturday Night Speedway, it really it changes the entire environment, the entire schema of what's going on here tonight, because it's so competitive. And now people know that Mankalor is here, and he's sitting with a YouTube of over 100,000 people. He is a very well recognized name in the Mario Kart community, and he has to set a standard right now that people have to follow. So it's really up to Mankalor to hold his position as, I guess, the elitist for the Mario Karts right now, and then everybody else as well. So, but we're real quick. We're going to go ahead and take a very short break here while we get things turned out. So we are here at the eSports Arena live inside the Luxor Hotel and Casino. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob Parker. As always, I have Troy Welly next to me. We're going to start qualifier number 2 in just a second. Stick around. Let me use the bathroom. And welcome back at the eSports Arena inside the Luxor Hotel and Casino inside Las Vegas. My name is Jacob Parker, and as always, I have Troy Welling next to me, and we are ready for Qualifier number 2 in Saturday Night Speedways.
Yeah, very excited to see this one going in to this second qualifier. Obviously, seeing Sir 9 in this one, so going to be seeing if he's able to qualify in his into the final 10 in first or second place. Obviously, he has some stiff competition we've seen week by week in the likes of Terabyte, Watermelon Girl. We see a Bunny on your screen also doing pretty well in pretty much getting final 10 in the weeks I've seen at least. So a lot of decent players in this qualifier. See if Sir 9 is able to compete to his best ability. And also something interesting going on in Twitch chat. There was a little debate going on between some people. So they're wondering if sandbagging is always worth it. And sandbagging means dropping yourself into 10th place, trying to get really good items and getting your way up to first place that way. So do you think it's always worth it, or do you think it's very situational and it depends on the player pool and the map pool, etc.?
Everything that you just listed is exactly the reason why I personally would never do it. I would never want to put myself into a position where I am technically at the bottom of the race, because when you're at the bottom of a race, anything can technically go wrong, and you might end up in a position where you can't recover. At that point, I'm even agreeing with Twitch chat right now. Everybody is saying no. I had a couple people say yes. I'm going to say no personally, just because right now there's too many variables to consider, especially in a tournament setting right now like this. If you put yourself in a 10th place with the intention of trying to quote-unquote get better items, there's no guarantee of success. Sandbagging, in my opinion, is just not worth it. I'm pretty sure you would agree, or do you have your own other kind of idea?
No, I pretty much agree with you on that point. I feel like it's just really hard to try and solidify your item pool at that point and trying to get yourself up back into first place, because if you aren't exactly able to get what you want and you just end up putting yourself into a pretty bad spot, you're probably going to easily be able to get into the middle of the pack. But it also depends on like the player pool as well, and depending on how close everyone might be in the actual race. Because if you sandbag your way down and you see a like first through ninth is like all in one group and you're kind of far behind, then you end up putting yourself in a pretty bad spot and end up only getting, like, 7th or 6th place while trying to do that. So you're seeing obviously this player going to be rocking the eSports Arena icon shirt. Sees a blue shell coming in. He's got to be careful about that one. Going into lap number 2, going to be using a coin just as he gets hit. So not going to be dropping below 10 coins there. End up picking one on his way out. You're seeing this player in 9th place. Obviously, we're talking about getting a little bit better items once you're in the later spots. Has a star and some mushrooms as well. So seeing some defensive items for Watermelon Girl as well. Knocking that player right down into the pit. So she is going to be solidifying a 3rd place spot there.
And she is rocking the trademark Cat Peach, which is one of the wonderful things we have seen here. And it looks like we're going to go over to Sir 9, who's actually running in the Inkling character. That's actually a very surprising thing. Normally, we always see Sir 9 hold on to it. He looks like he just shook his head because he did lose an item. He did have it, and he lost it. So that's going to be a very unfortunate thing. He's going to have to hold to the right. Barely misses the blue shell. I know I had said blue shell, and then Twitch chat exploded on us and said, it's a spiny shell. It's not blue. It's colored blue. I'm just going off of what I learned in kindergarten.
It is a blue shell. Like, theoretically speaking and statistically speaking, that is a blue shell. So it's not like we're getting it wrong. It just is exactly what we're seeing on the screen. But you're going to be seeing the likes of first place. It seems like they're solidifying in a pretty decent spot here. Going to be stopping down a little bit, it seems, and then getting first place in a pretty solid advantage there. Seeing a bullet bill coming in right at second. It looks like Sir 9 ends up gliding his way into second right there. So Sir 9 ending up getting into a 2nd place finish after all of that. He was pretty middle of the pack throughout most of that race, but ended up getting himself into a pretty decent spot. You kind of saw this first place player sandbagging a little bit in the first place, just jumping around, backing up, but having a pretty solid lead throughout the rest of that race, so not too much to worry about at that point.
That was such the ultimate disrespect win right there, being able to do a quick turnaround and then back in for the win on that race. And Sir 9 says in chat, and he was also on stage right now saying, I saw that. That has to be a dangerous loss there. I would not want to feel comfortable getting a loss against that or getting 2nd place when the player is backing into the win. That is not something you want.
Yeah, that's true. You're losing a little bit of points right there, though. Going to be seeing the confidence from that first place player going to be just as high as Sir 9. So we're going to be seeing if these players are able to compete against each other in the ladder rounds and the ladder races. Going to be seeing Sir 9 coming in 2nd in that race still. So he's not looking like he's in too bad of a spot. Obviously, you can drop a couple placements here and there and still solidify in a 1st or 2nd spot pretty easily if you maintain that 1st through 3rd throughout every single race. Obviously, there's going to be 6 races, so that was only the first one. Has 5 more races to try and get that 1st place spot. and we'll be looking forward to do that. Interested to see what the next map pool might be and to see if any other players start adopting a couple different strategies. Going to be seeing a snow map again. So we talked about how weather does affect your Mario Kart races a little bit here and there. Going to affect your traction and going to affect your drifting and all that likes as well.
And she is also running a kart with slim wheels, so you got to be very careful. That is going to be something if you have to control your kart. Slim wheels are great for acceleration with a decrease to handling, so you got to be very careful about how you're going to maneuver. Looks like Watermelon Girl showing no signs of slowing down here. Just looks like she was going for the Shy Guy. She actually wanted to run into it and then moves at the last second here. We're going to move over to our, we have a baby Luigi right now holding onto it, and now holding on to first place with a mushroom. Hasn't used it yet. I'm surprised it hasn't happened. Probably just waiting for the right moment. Waiting for probably a straightaway at this point, just trying to get the drifts. We had talked about drifts, by the way. They have not been utilized, and I know Twitch chat had said this before. Not many people are utilizing drift ultras to be able to get quick speed boosts. And ultras, for those that have never seen it, are when you have the ultimate drift. You're holding onto it long enough, it turns purple. And when it gets purple, you get a massive increase in speed. We haven't seen that yet here tonight.
Yeah, and it just seems like these players might not have been able to get in a decent spot where they can efficiently utilize the ultra drift, or just maybe not the map for it. Just seeing a lot of similar maps coming out for most of these guys, so maybe they're just not too comfortable trying to get that going in. Seeing this player getting a pretty decent drift right there, getting himself into a solid second spot. This was obviously the player gloating in front of Surnine for the last place finish, so he's going to be trying to get himself in a decent spot. Gets a fireball here. He's going to be throwing those into the first place player. Not exactly hitting it just yet, and just barely missing that one as well. So he's going to be dropping into the water, throwing fire in water. Who knows how physics work in general, but he's going to be taking a pretty solid hit right there. You're seeing a blue shell coming in, so he's got to be careful. And that blow up, he's going to blow up in that second place spot. You're seeing Surnine ends up inching his way into first place. He says bye-bye with a wave of his hand. He's happy. He's moving on towards that one.
That is a confident Surnine that we've seen, but the race is not over yet. We still have one more lap left in this race. We're going to see whether or not he can hold into it. And he does get hit by a fireball. He's going to lose that position. Another fireball does get thrown back, but it looks like this character playing on Roy does not have the ability to handle it, so he does end up falling down here. And he is barely molding his way back into first and holding onto a bomb. That's a very scary situation to be in because you don't want to hold onto that item for too long. It's not that it's going to blow up in your hand. It's just a very tacky thing to have.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to efficiently utilize a bomb, especially in some of the likes of first place as well. Going to be seeing him drop down here, getting some quick boost off of these jumps, and seeing if he doesn't hit this item where he does. So he gets right past those pillars and will get himself into a pretty solid first place spot here. Seeing that place, getting that bomb, effectively utilizing that right there. So he's going to knock second place down into third and solidify himself into first place again. Seeing the likes of all these players dropping down into ladder spots. Seeing Surnine drop to 8th right there.
Oh, wow, went from first all the way down to 8th. That is a very unfortunate situation there for Surnine. I would love to, again, see Surnine move to at least the final 10, but it might be possible he might end up in the wild cards. We're going to look over at our stage right now. We have a bunch of people sitting in the seats here. We have Precious over there just chilling, having a great time, always with the lovely smiles, and we always do that. We like to call her out because she just ends up smiling. It's just all cheesy.
Yeah, it just ends up shying away from the camera, as most do, but we're going to be seeing these players go into their third race. So so far, Surnine, we're going to be talking about him a lot, especially throughout most of these races alone. Second place finish and then an 8th place finish. That's going to be a lot of points he's going to end up losing out. I think he ends up losing like 10 points from going from the first place spot to an 8th place ranking. So about 10 or 9 points at that point is going to be a pretty solid hit. So he might not have a solidified first or second place finish at this point. He really needs to get first place in the coming races if he's looking for that.
If anybody can do it, Surnine definitely can. He's got the trash talking to be able to back it up. I don't know what it is, but apparently if you trash talk, you become a better racer. And that's in any game. We see that in Friday Frags all the time from Aurora, who not only does trash talk, but he does back it up. And we see no exemption from that here. We're going to take a look at our leaderboards right now. So far, Vertex sitting in first, Kyred in second, Geronimo in all capital letters sitting in third, Terabyte in fourth, and Gumball 1. Gumball 1? Yeah, there you go. Gumball 1 sitting in fifth. Surnine down in 6th right now. He's got to move up. If he gets the points, he might be able to make it into the wild card, but anything is possible. Watermelon Girl sitting in 7th. He's spicing in proper slot, taking the last 2 spots here. So you really got to see how we're going to be able to make things happen here. He's currently sitting in first, holding on to a defensive shell, so that's going to be really great, and getting the double. So he's going to get a second item, and then it's going to be a coin. That's going to be useful for later on. Keep his coins up to get that initial speed boost as well.
Yeah, we always keep talking about it in every single round, but if you don't know exactly what coins do, a lot of people actually really don't know what coins do in Mario Kart. They actually give you a percentage speed boost. So once you are capped out at 10 in the bottom left, you do end up getting a 2.5% speed boost to your player. So you're seeing, unfortunately, Watermelon Girl taking some falls here and there. Going to be dropping her down all the way to 9th place, so she's got to try and get her way back up from there. But you want to maintain 10 points throughout the entire race. It is pretty hard to do, especially if you get hit by items here and there. But you always kind of want to have that extra speed boost no matter what, just in case you get into a very close situation towards the end of the race, and you want to make sure you just have that little bit of speed boost advantage to your likeliness throughout the entire race. Going to be seeing a lot of these players getting some items here. Seeing if that affects the race at all. Getting some mushrooms and a star right now, so he's going to be trying to put himself in a decent spot. You're seeing a nice little skip right there from Vertex. He'll be gliding his way through there. Has a pretty decent lead right now. Sir9 closely coming in behind him in 2nd place, so he's going to be using that mushroom to get himself in a decent spot.
Oh, this is going to be a second place. That's going to do it right there. There you go. That's the one that we needed to see. It's Sir9 using that red shell at the last second, taking away 1st place. And you know there's going to be some trash talking commencing right now.
Yeah, we saw Vertex going to be that player dropping down into 2nd place. Had a pretty solid lead going into that, but he ends up getting 2 red shells, knocking him down into 2nd place. And you see Sir9 was extremely happy about that one, and that'll obviously, he needs that going into the ladder of these races. He needs to get those 1st place finishes, so he's got to be pretty hyped and moving on from that one, and the adrenaline's going to be kicking in. He's going to be trying to get 1st place in the next 3.
That's going to move him up in the leaderboards for the qualifiers, but the races are not over. We're just barely going through. It's anybody's races still, but it looks like Sir9 now feeling very comfortable. The next races really could be his.
Yeah, there's going to be a crazy race coming out for these next few players. Seeing a lot of action, especially at the end of the races between a lot of these guys. Seeing Vertex using some nice shortcuts and some nice little cuts between here and there between the race. So he's obviously a very skilled racer, and they're going to be trying to take that 1st place spot away from Sir9. See if he's able to do it. Obviously, had that 1st place finish already and then had a 2nd place finish just there. So he's going to be pretty well points-wise, but they're going to be going into the 4th race here, seeing exactly what Sir9's going to be able to do from the 1st place spot. See if he's able to maintain that, or see if he's going to drop down any few races here, 2 points.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get back into the races right now. And it looks like we're going to have another sharp battle again between Vertex and Sir9. And then we have Baby Luigi now currently sitting in the 3rd spot, and it's anybody's race here. It is a very close race. This is one of those races where the player base usually tends to stick together until about the last lap when things really start changing. But this is a very interesting, I don't know what it is about this map. I just really enjoy it. It seems very comedic. It's very cartoonish, and you're all underwater and you're above water. I don't know. I feel like this is just the perfect balance of salt and sweet.
Yeah, it's definitely a perfect balance, but you're going to see a lot of salt if these players start getting hit by red shells. Consistently, it's going to be a lot more salt than sweet. You're going to see a red shell coming down to place the 2nd player.
Oh,
so he's going to end up dropping down and drop all the way to 6th, 7th now, 8th. He's just going to keep dropping down. He drops all the way to 8th from that point, from that red shell. So that is a pretty detrimental shell, and those are the worst spots. You obviously don't want to get hit by red shells, where you need to start keeping your defensive items, especially in places like that. See Sir9 taking a little rookie mistake right there, getting hit by a piranha plant on his way over to the 2nd lap.
Absolutely, and we're going to back over to Sir9, currently sitting 4th, and does get hit by a shell. He's going to fall. That's going to be a waste of time, and he is going to drop into 5th, and we're going to move over to 3rd place right now. Watermelon Girl now sitting with a green shell floating around her, and can't use it right now because there's an unfortunate red shell being defensively used. You can't really break away from that unless you have a blue shell to make it through. That's really the only way you're going to break through any red shell defenses at that point. Yeah,
and you're seeing 2nd and 3rd place being pretty tightly contested right here, but it looks like Vertex had a solid lead going into this 3rd lap here. He's going to be in a pretty sizable advantage. We're seeing a shortcut used right there from Watermelon Girl. Going to be using the star as well to not get affected by that sound horn. So she's going to keep herself into a very solid 2nd place spot. But you see Vertex is pretty much solidifying a 1st place finish here, and he has a solid lead on these players. There's only Blue Shell is going to be able to take him down at this point, but he seems like he's going to be in a pretty...
Man, he has a commanding lead in this map right now, so this is definitely going to be a map where Vertex, I believe even with any Spiny Shell, I was going to say Blue Shell, but I didn't want Twitch chat to be angry at me again. So there is a Spiny Shell on the way. I just don't think it's going to cut it. There's not enough left. I really think that the entire field, and that might actually do it. So the Blue Shell on top of, I just said it by the way, Blue Shell, on top of the Lightning, this could actually even out the player base here, but it looks like it's not going to be enough, and it looks like Vertex will be walking away with the victory on this map right now. This is such a dangerous map because that fall is so long anyway, so much time.
And Sir9 just got hit by a red shell at the end of that one as well. I think ended up dropping him down, getting hit again before he finishes the lap. So looks like he ended up dropping down to maybe 5th or 6th place in that point. But you're seeing Vertex has a pretty solid lead. You saw him hit an ultra right there at the very end as well. So he's going to be pretty confident moving on to the ladder races. obviously has a pretty decent score at this point, finishing first in a few of these races so far. So he's going to be in a pretty solid spot moving forward. Going to be seeing if he's able to finish in that first place spot or see if someone else might take that spot from him. Obviously some solid racing coming out and seeing the crowd just smiles on their face, having a decent time here and having looking forward to some Mario Kart races.
Well, speaking of that, by the way, I'm looking over at Twitch chat, and they actually did say I could say Blue Shell, and I'm not going to die over it. So I'm actually very happy I could say Blue or Spiny, and, I'm not going to get, detailed as a shotcaster. So I'm very happy about that. It's just so nice to see all of the smiles. Hello, people in the chat, and hello, people in the stage and the stands. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much again, by the way. If you are here inside the arena, you are wonderful. Thank you so much for taking your time to enjoy Saturday Night Speedway. If you haven't already, we have $5 draft drinks and $8 cocktails over at the bars. If you guys want to go take a look at that as well. And then get some of the fries. I keep saying it all the time. The fries are wonderful.
And it wouldn't be Las Vegas without a little bit of drinking, so that's why you're going to be seeing, we talk about Guinness Guy all the time. His real name's Young Lion, and we talk about him all the time being Guinness Guy. Talk about him drinking and driving, and one of the only players to do so. This is only spot where we do encourage drinking and driving is in Mario Kart. So you can have a little bit of fun on your way out. But you're seeing Vertex using a nice ultra drift here and getting himself in a very solid spot, using the drifting to his complete advantage right there and just putting himself in a decent advantage between the rest of these players. Gonna have a coin and a banana here. Not exactly using the coin quite yet. Just gonna be looking for some better items throughout the rest of this race. But it's gonna be a pretty close race so far for the first lap as of right now.
One of the things that Vertex is just commanding leads over is his map memorization. He is utilizing these maps in a way that is almost unreal, and he is hitting every secret and every note just perfectly in these races right now, and that's why his leads are so commanding. But it right now looks like Sir9 is going to be potentially catching up to the pack here very shortly. Not too far along. I'd say maybe he's about 4 seconds back, and we got a red shell currently flying, trying to see if it's going to make its way over to Vertex. Vertex might be on the hold with a defensive item, and that looks like it's going to be that way, so it looks like his Vertex is going to continue moving forward. Sir9 now trying to make his way up here, does have a star. It's going to try and push him a little bit further ahead, but again, Vertex holding onto a commanding lead just because he knows these maps so well.
Yeah, and there's a blue shell coming in for Vertex in this point, so he's got to be careful about that one. Hopefully has a foghorn or soundhorn to try and get himself out of that one, but he ends up getting hit, so Sir9's going to be going right past him. Sir9 also taking a hit there, so Sir9's dropping himself down a little bit here and there. Going to be losing that first place potential right there, and also getting hit by red shells constantly, so he's going to be kind of a scary situation going into the later round here. Going to be seeing him getting hit by a red shell at the very end of the map, but no one's really close to end up beating him out of that one, so Vertex taking another solid first place right there. Puts a thumbs up. He seems like he's in a solid point moving out for the rest of this qualifier.
It is insane how he's just commanding the entire player base right now, and he's just whopping into first, and not only just taking first, but he is just destroying everybody on the field tonight.
Yeah, and so with question coming up with Twitch chat, how does this event work? It is a three-round qualifier so far. So each 10 players or 9 players are going to be in 3 different qualifying rounds. The top 2 players from each qualifier will move on to the final 10, and then there are a few players from each qualifier that are going to be put into a wild card heat qualifier, which is going to be the round to try and get them back into the final 10. So you're going to be seeing 6 players moving on from their qualifying rounds, and then 4 players coming in from the wild card heat to try and get themselves back into the final 10. So going to be a heated wild card qualifier, and those are going to be the races we're really looking forward to, because almost half of that player pool is able to move on into the final 10.
I definitely agree with you, man, and I really do enjoy the way that the layout is definitely set up. I think it's very fair for all the players that are here, so it's all equal skills at the end of the day. It really falls down to luck that plays a factor as well. Now, looking over at Twitch chat real quick, Colin Hughes says, can you commentators say 1-2 oatmeal? I'm going to say 1-2 no. I'm just kidding. Well, I know I said it, but I had to say it louder, but for the people in the back, I guess, quote unquote. But no, we're still looking over at Twitch. If you guys are in Twitch chat, again, twitch.tv/eSports Arena Vegas. If you guys have any questions about the event, we are more than happy to answer. We're going to get into the map right now. Looks like Vertex, again, holding on to a commanding lead right off the get-go. He has definitely practiced the line boosting, which we have seen a lot of players do. For those people that have never seen it, that's when you hold your acceleration at the right moment to be able to get a quick boost in speed, and that could really make or break your placement all the way through the entire map.
Yeah, and he's one of the only players we've seen utilize the ultra drifts. You've seen him using it again right there. One of the only, we were talking about earlier, not seeing a lot of these players using it, and Vertex, one of the few players we have seen effectively utilizing it. Now, unfortunately, getting knocked down right there from that player, so he's going to be in a pretty bad spot moving forward, but there is 2 more laps after this anyway, so he doesn't have to worry about that too much. Going to be worrying about placement a little bit more later. Doesn't have to really worry about being tossed around a little bit in the beginning of the map. Going to be just worrying about that towards the latter end. going to be seeing a first round so far for this player. So Sir9 coming in a close second. He's going to be back to his default, everything that we've normally seen from him. So he's going to realizing, he said in chat earlier, a little bit ago, he said the new cart wasn't working out for him. So he's going to go back to his original setup, seeing if that will work out for him. You've seen a nice just a banana right there to get that second place player down. And he's going to be at a pretty decent point here. Would obviously like a bit more defensive items, but it won't be too bad about having a red shell here, just in case someone passes him up.
Well, it looks like it's working very well for him. And again, and that's one of the thing about Mario Kart eSports that I really enjoy is even if you have a bad map or a bad run or whatever it might be, you can swap through mid-match whenever you finish a race, and you can just go ahead and try another character, try another cart, find what works for you, and just utilize it. And if it works well, great, continue using it. Looks like we're going to go right over here. Vertex taking another commanding lead out of nowhere. I thought Sir9 was in the lead, and then I turned to look at you, and I turned back, and then all of a sudden Vertex just warps back into first place. Yeah. Not sure how that works.
Now Sir9's in 5th place. He just got hit and knocked down right in the middle of the gap right there. So he's going to be in a pretty decent spot, trying to get himself back into first place. I see Aurora in chat saying, I miss you. We miss you as well, Aurora. Should have competed out. Should have seen you here today. Would like to see, obviously, Friday Frags players playing this a little bit of Mario Kart, even if they all suck. It's still going to be a ton of fun to watch. But I've seen a lot of competition coming out from these players. Going to be seeing Watermelon Girl in 4th place, getting hit, unfortunately, as soon as she hits that boost. So going to have to get dragged all the way back to the other part of that ramp. Going to be seeing this little baby Luigi player coming in 3rd place here, and then you're seeing a Vertex easily taking that one again. So he's going to be pretty much solidified in 1st place at the end of this round if no one else is able to take him out of that spot.
Now the question is, who is going to take the 2nd place? We're going to take a look over at the standings here pretty shortly, but very excited to see everything. And now we're going to go back over to Precious with that preciousness that is her smile, and she does a 2-finger piece. That's awesome.
Yeah, going to be going into the one of the later races for right now, so going to be interested to see exactly where these players are going to be doing. Obviously, they're going to be getting ready for qualifier number 3, which is going to be shortly after this one. A lot of quick races going so far, and a lot of, I would say, very close races, especially between. It seems like Vertex has been in a pretty solid 1st place spot, but for 2nd and through like 8th or 9th, it seems like that has been a pretty mixed jumble of people. So interested to see what might happen in this last race as well.
It was definitely an interesting qualifier. In fact, we're going to take a look over at the replays right now and see all the stuff that's been going on here in qualifier number 2. It's been a crazy qualifier number 2 where things were just flipping around and changing, and then it looked like Vertex just commanded everything that was going on. He really just took away, and even right here, the disrespect by backing into the win. That's, I think, the first time we've ever seen in Saturday Night Speedway history where we had somebody that actually went backwards to secure the win. What a way to go, though.
Yeah, just an absolute crazy turn of events for Vertex. Ended up dropping here and there a little bit throughout the races, but it seems like he was always able to get his 1st place spot back to no matter what. It seemed like he was getting hit a lot by red shells or anything might be it. You saw that really close race from Sir9 hitting that red shell at the very end of the race, barely getting himself back into 1st place at that point. So I think that was the only 1st place finish Sir9 did have for that round. So we're going to be interested in seeing exactly where everyone did qualify at the end of that one. Seeing Vertex probably easily moving forward into the final 10 from that one. So if no one is for sure exactly what happens in the final or the final 2 or the first 2 finishers from each qualifier automatically go into the final 10, and then there's a wild card qualifier that determines the rest of the 4 players in the final 10.
Yep, basically like a make or break it. If you don't do it in the wild cards, and you do not make it into the final 10 at all. In fact, we're actually going to take a look at the leaderboards right now, find out how our players have been doing here for the qualifiers. It looks like we have 3 players who are going to be moving in right now. That is going to be Vertex, Kyret, and Terabyte. And by the way, if I am not mistaken, we might actually have a tie, so we're going to find out how that's going to be working right now. But also, I believe somebody in chat said tell Kyret that sister is watching from home. We are watching Twitch chat, so if you guys have anything that you guys want to say, we are going to be able to say hello as well. So Kyret, your sister is watching from home, and we love you.
And also a decent place for him as well to get out of that round. It automatically qualifies for the final 10, so he doesn't have to worry about playing the wild card qualifiers at all. See Sir9 dropping in 4th right there, though, so he's 35 points. We'll probably be able to get him into the wildcard qualifier, but it's going to be, he might be in like 8th, 9th, or 10th in the wildcard qualifier, which obviously at that point, you're not really worried about the placement once you're there. You're just happy to be there because then you have another chance to get in the final 10.
Well, speaking of happy to be here, we also have Jordan, who's happy to be on stage right now with some of our players. Jordan, take it away.
Hey Troy, I am always happy to be here. I'm here with Vertex, who should also be happy because he just won. How are you feeling?
Oh my God, this is like, I can't believe it. Like, I actually flew in here from Ohio. I heard about this place from Mankalor's video. So yeah, I actually flew down and I came to compete. I came to win.
Oh, Wow. Okay, we got some stiff competition. So you were competing in a pretty stiff bracket. Most of those guys are our regulars, and a lot of them have won. How do you feel now, knowing that you just won this round against some of our best players?
Well, I don't know what to say. I wasn't prepared for an interview, but
That's okay. I'm never prepared. You're fine.
Yeah.
Do you think that your cart was prepared for those maps at all? What was your strategy?
Well, the cart I wanted to use, it wasn't unlocked on my setup, so I just went with the second best thing. It wasn't much of the cart that was doing me pretty good. I felt like playing it so much, I knew the maps, like no matter what cart that I use, and well, that just came into play, and I'm glad that I won by surprisingly a lot. Like I didn't expect that I'd win by that much. I figured that, Mario Kart being Mario Kart, I was going to get hit back to last, but luckily that didn't happen that much, and I hope that I at least get into the finals.
Well, I'm rooting for you. Here you have it, this round's winner from Ohio. Thanks for being here with us. I look forward to seeing your next round, okay? Thank you. Back to you guys.